what I want to teach you in this video is the concept of wrapper classes. So far, you know about all of these primitives. You know byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, as well as char. Now, for each of these primitives, there is a corresponding wrapper class. So have a look. For byte is byte with capital B, short, capital S, int, it's actually capital I, and then integer, long, capital L, float, capital D for double, boolean, and character. So char, and the wrapper class is a character with capital C, and then character. Now, these classes right here, they allows us to use these primitives as objects. Now, more on objects later, but the benefit you'll see later when we talk about data structures and generics and whatnot. But in here, let me just give you an example. So if I have an integer, so here if I say int and then age equals to 20. Now, if I try to access, so if I say age dot, so here I don't have any method associated with this. And remember the way that primitives and objects are stored in memory. So primitives are stored within the stack, whereas objects are stored within the heap. If we want a object representation of age or of this integer, we can just do the following. So here I'm going to basically, let me just comment this like that. And here we would say integer. So this is the wrapper class, age equals to 20. Now have a look. With this integer, if I say age dot, I've got a bunch of methods that I can use. So here, byte value, compare to, describe constable, double value, float value, int value, so you can convert this integer object back to a primitive, long value, to string, equals, so on and so forth. So these methods are really self-explanatory, but later you'll see the benefit of having the wrapper class when we touch on generics. So for double as well, so here you'd say double. So capital D, and then here let's just say price equals to, and then this doesn't change. So maybe 206.33, for example. Have a look. So now I do have two objects right here. So they no longer are primitives. Now, what I want to show you is that within this, for example, integer class, if you have a string, so let's just say var and then age str equals to, and then let's say 55. And if you want to convert this into an integer, you can do so by saying integer. So this class right here, and then it has a couple of helper methods, dot, and then have a look, parse int. So you've got a bunch of other methods. You can compare, you can decode, you can divide, get integers, min, max of numbers here. I'll show you these in a second. But here, if I say parse int, and then pass age str, now this right here, I'm going to say int and then a for age. You can see that we went from a string to an integer. The same with double. So double has the same thing. So double dot parse double. This is how you convert a string to any given primitive. So I'm just going to stick with integers for now, but it will be the same for all of these wrapper classes that you see in here. And also I'm going to give you exercises. So within the integer class, so let me just say south in here and a for age. So here, if I run this, you should see that we have 55. So 55, so we went from a string, 55 here, to a primitive. So let's just explore a couple of these methods. So if I say south, integer, dot, and then have a look. So I think I wanted to show you this, min. So min basically allows us to pass two numbers. So if I pass 20 and 5, for example, I should get the minimum of those two, which is 5. If I change this to -1, the result now should be -1. So we get the min of both of those numbers. If I say south again, integer dot, and you can basically use a bunch of these methods to perform, for example, sum. You can perform a sum on two integers. You can convert an integer to a string. So you can say to string. So here, if I pass, for example, 1, so this will now be a string. So I can say dot to, and then maybe to string or to uppercase, so on and so forth, right? But this is pointless, really. So let me just explore a couple of the methods. So if I scroll down, and also you have some constants. So max value, min value. So basically it gives you the max number that an integer can hold. So the same with, so here if I say double dot, so have a look. Double will have similar methods. So sum, parse double, value of, max value, so on and so forth. So I'll let you explore these wrapper classes, but as we move throughout this course, you'll see that we're going to use them at some point, and it's something that you should be aware. This is all for now. Catch me on the next one.